Hi, I'm Zeba from Kindergarten Cafe, and in today's video, we're going to talk about 5 simple fine motor skills activities that you can do at home or in the classroom. The first thing to remember about fine motor skills is that they can easily be built and should be built during play. Play provides a lot of opportunities for building those fine muscles. Between Legos and Play Doh, kids that are working with their hands to build, create, mold, um, pull, they are building their fine motor skills. And so, starting with play is the best way that you can help kids build their fine motor muscles. But for kids that need more fine motor skills, or if you want to really help all the kids in your class develop more fine motor skills, you can sort of target this play based learning into some easy fine motor skills activities. So, for example, taking the Play Doh that they love to play with and having them roll out little lines, little snakes, and having them build letters or numbers through the Play Doh lines. The other thing you can do is have a hole punch, have kids hole punch into letters, shapes, pictures, anything they want. But the hole punch is a very strong fine motor skill activity. Same with using tweezers. So having kids pick up pom poms or counters or little objects with the tweezers, have them sort by color, by shape, by size, by animal, by whatever, or having them place things inside different objects. So maybe trying to place pom poms inside those little circles you can see here in this picture, right? So Play Doh, rolling, mushing, rolling around, forming, that's great fine motor skills. Hole punching is a fantastic way to build fine motor skills, and using tweezers. They sell very cheap kid tweezers that are much stronger for their muscles than the tweezers you might buy at the Walgreens down the street. And so I would recommend, I have a link in the blog post to get some of these tweezers that I'm talking about. You can see in the picture here, they're plastic, and they really help build fine motor muscles. After working on building up some of that core fine motor strength, then you can start introducing cutting with the students. And so it's important that they understand the proper technique of cutting, that their thumb always should be on the top, and that they stick 2, maybe 3 fingers inside, but that's it. Their thumb is always on the top, and they're holding their paper down, and their paper stays still as they move the scissor across the paper. And I teach my kids this, and we practice this over and over again by doing Cutting Academy together. So we start by just cutting different lines, then we cut out different shapes, then we cut out pictures, and we use all of this to practice with learning how to use scissors. And a bonus activity for fine motor skill work is to have them trace the line first by holding a pencil properly, holding a marker, whatever they're using, and tracing the line, working on those fine motor skills for different line shapes, and then have them cut it out. Additionally, for kids that struggle with cutting, seeing what they're supposed to be cutting in a bright line, like a yellow line, helps them visualize better where they're cutting. And so, if you're noticing that your kids are struggling with this Cutting Academy, I would definitely have them draw or have you draw with a yellow line where they're supposed to cut. And as you can see here, when we have different shapes that they're supposed to cut out of a paper, it's good to walk through how you can make this big paper and break it down into smaller groups so that it's easier to cut out each square or rectangle. So maybe I'd cut it in half first, and then it's easier for me to cut out each rectangle that way. When you are ready to move on from cutting to talking about pencil grip, holding a pencil, holding a marker, I have the perfect song for you. And so it goes like this, and it's the best way to teach that proper hand grip formation. So, thumb is bent, pointer points to the tip, middle finger uses its side. I tuck my last 2 fingers in and take it for a ride. So I'm honestly not sure what tune that is. I did not come up with it. An OT at my school taught me that song, but I use it every year because it is the best way for the kids to remember the grip, and me as well when I'm teaching them to remember how the formation's supposed to go. Thumb is bent, pointer points to the tip because oftentimes they're up here or they're in here, or sometimes they're holding it like this, right? So thumb is bent, pointer points to the tip, middle finger uses its side. That's the trickiest one. Oftentimes they're going like this. And so this, we want them to go like this. And then tuck the last two fingers in. Now, if kids are having trouble with that last part, tucking their last two fingers in, if they want to go like this, right? One of the best things you can do for them is stick something in for them to hold with those two fingers, a pom-pom, a cotton ball. They also have little grips that are linked in the blog post that have a little, it's like a grip that goes around the pencil but has a little dangly dolphin or animal, and they hold that in there. So it helps them remember to keep those last two fingers tucked in. So depending on the grip that your students are using, those are different strategies to help them have the proper pencil grip. Definitely recommend reaching out to your OT to observe a hand grip, to offer ideas for your specific students. After we work on the pencil grip and we've been doing a lot of work to build our hand muscles, we're ready to start using them with pencils and pens and markers to practice drawing different lines and shapes. So this is the first foundational step in teaching kids how to draw, is how to learn to draw different lines and different shapes, because all drawings are made up of shapes. So that's the foundational step. And I have a whole other blog post and video on teaching kids how to draw. I'll put the link down below. But this is also building their fine motor skills. It's using what you've been working on with them to build their hand muscles to be able to hold a pencil properly and use it dragging across the line in a straight line or a squiggly line, being able to maneuver within the line or shape that you're asking them to draw. We do this over and over and over again until they're ready to start applying it to their pictures and then their words, their letters. Speaking of handwriting and applying these skills to their letters, the best way that you can practice and launch that handwriting lessons and strategies is through practicing writing their own name. Children learn their name before they learn anything else. They learn how to read it and write it. And so when we want kids to practice handwriting, holding a pencil right, writing different letters, we want to start with the letters in their name because that's what they're so familiar with. It's also extra important that their name be legible. People need to be able to read their name and understand whose paper it is, whose work is it. And so it's important to convey that to the students as well, because we want their name to be read by other students and teachers, and that they should be proud of their name and their work. And this all comes down to having their name on their paper. So what I usually do is I write with a yellow marker or a highlighter their name on the paper. You can also type it up and print it out that way, but I like the yellow because, again, for kids that struggle with this, the yellow really stands out and it gives them something to trace on. And so I write their name in the yellow for them to trace with a pencil. This is done all the time, over and over again. I even have them practice their names every morning as a way to sign in for the day. They practice writing their name for our sign in, so they get practice every day writing their name. And this is just the start of working on handwriting and other fine motor skills. But these activities, these 5 activities, are a great place for you to start when you notice kids are struggling with fine motor skill development. If you have any other questions, leave them in a comment down below. Thank you.